I request our treasurer, Sri Madhukar, to accompany Sri Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib to the dais. I request our trustee, Sri Prakash, to take Sri G.V. Ramakrishna to the dais. And lastly, I request our trustee, Sri Shripad, to take Srimati Sudha Vyas to the dais.
गजानन गावा हो गणराज गजानन गावा हो सेंदूर चर्चित तुंड विराजित सेंदूर चर्चित तुंड विराजित मोदक हस्त पहावा हो गणराज गजानन गावा हो गणराज गजानन गावा हो विघ्न विनाशक बुद्धि प्रकाशक विघ्न विनाशक बुद्धि प्रकाशक सोवरदायक द्यावा हो गणराज गजानन गावा हो गणराज गजानन गावा हो आनंदात्मज चिंतित से तुझ आनंदात्मज चिंतित से तुझ हा भव सिंधु तरावा हो गणराज गजानन गावा हो गणराज गजानन गावा हो गावा हो गावा हो
Used by the Maratha warriors who hoisted it to mark the victory over their enemies. This flag is hoisted specially in programs relating to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. The Maharashtra Association also takes pride in following this custom, which certainly gives us all the energy and enthusiasm when we hear the song detailing the great deeds and valor of Chhatrapati. As the song is played, our trustee Sri Narayan Rao will shower flowers on the flag and pray for the unity and welfare of the people.
भगवा झेंडा फडकता आला महादेव बोला हर हर महादेव बोला हर हर महादेव बोला सुरेल तनया सिंगे करणी पंचम स्वर धरिला धरिला पंचम स्वर धरिला सांगा नौपती जाऊन राहील सांगा नौपती जाऊन राहील नाद ब्रह्म नदी बाला बोला महादेव बोला हर हर महादेव बोला महाराष्ट्राच्या निज तत्वाचा जीवरूप भरला भरला जीवरूप भरला गुरुसेवाचा मेव होऊनी गुरुसेवाचा मेव होऊनी धन्य धन्य झाला शिवोबा धन्य धन्य झाला शिवोबा धन्य धन्य झाला आर्य धर्माचा अनंत झेंडा अखंड लावियला गावी अखंड लावियला सद्गुरु समर्थ जीव मानुनी सद्गुरु समर्थ जीव मानुनी चिर कीर्ती धरिला बोला महादेव बोला हर हर महादेव बोला छत्रपती श्री शिवराया अवतारी झाला झाला अवतारी झाला समस्त गुरुनी प्रसाद प्रसाददिदला समर्थ गुरुनी प्रसाददिदला झेंडा ऊंचा झाला बोला महादेव बोला हर हर महादेव बोला भगवा झेंडा फडकता आला भगवा झेंडा फडकता आला महादेव बोला हर हर महादेव बोला हर हर महादेव बोला हर हर महादेव बोला
Visionary with extremely high moral values and function like a seasoned statesman and general. The history of India is incomplete without the history of Marathas, and Shivaji is the nucleus of Maratha history. Shivaji has been a source of inspiration and pride to the past generations and will continue to inspire generations in future. On this day, which also happens to be the day Maharashtra derived its statehood, the Maharashtra Association Chennai, on behalf of the Maharashtrian community living in this part of the country, has come out with a novel idea of honoring the stalwarts of the Maharashtrian community who have scaled great heights against odds to achieve excellence, played a cogent role in stimulating and sustaining the growth of the country, and contributed their lifetime to the upliftment of the society at large. The idea behind this honoring is to recognize the contributions made by these worthy gentlemen on the one hand, and also to show the younger generation that hard work always pays on the other. Today, the 1st of May 2009 is further special to us because it is 75 years since the Maharashtra Association has come into existence at Chennai. During this honoring function, the awardee is presented with an award named the Great Maratha Award for lifetime achievement and outstanding contributions he has made to the society. This award carries a shawl, a plaque, and a memento. I request our President, Sri T.K. Chandrasekharan, to give the welcome address.
Sisters, which was founded in the year 1934. Like our annual cultural festival, Shivaji Jayanti also gained tremendous momentum. And this day, in 1960, the state of Maharashtra received statehood when the state of Saurashtra was divided into Maharashtra and Gujarat on the basis of languages. Marathi and Gujarati, and retained its capital as Bombay, present Mumbai. The function has been receiving more and more importance, becoming very glamorous and attractive because we are able to bring the view cuts of different levels to the stage. We are privileged to have here today a distinguished personality, Sri P.C. Alexander, as the chief guest of this function. He himself a great achiever, having had the distinction of holding several high positions in public life at the national and international over 60 years. He was the Secretary of Ministry of Commerce, Principal Secretary to the Minister of India, High Commissioner of India in London, and notably the Governor of Tamil Nadu in Maharashtra. He was closely associated with the United Nations services and also a member of Rajya Sabha. We are fortunate to have this great personality today, and we extend a warm welcome to you, sir. Today's hero, Sri R. Krishna Swami Rao, is another distinction to be honored to the committee. He has been awarded Padma Vibhushan recently by Government of India. We are happy that we have made right choice for this special Platinum Jubilee function. We extend a warm welcome to you, sir. We have with us on the stage Sri G.V. Ramakrishnan, former chairman of SEBI, and Srimati Sudha Vyas, a close relative of Rao Sahib, who had come to facilitate to him. To these affectionate people, we extend a warm welcome. Like every year, we have cultural program today also, soon after the official formal ceremony. This year, we are going to witness a grand program entitled Bhakta Sakta Vitala, a dance drama by artists belonging to Nityoria, Mumbai, headed by Srimati Jayasri Rajagopalan, an internationally renowned dancer and a disciple of Padma Subramaniam. We extend a warm welcome to all the artists. The Maharashtra Association in Chennai takes this opportunity to welcome one and all and on this great occasion. Thank you.
I request our members to present the bouquets to the dignitaries on the stage. I request our Honorary Secretary, Dr. Devaji Rao, to give the summary of the activities of the Maharashtra Association.
Together, people of all castes, creed, religion, and economic strata. The credit to start such an organization goes to late Dr. M. Devaji Rao, late Dr. Mrs. Krishnabai Nimkar, and other veteran Maharashtrians of yesteryears. The Maharashtra Association started its ladies' wing called Mangala Samaj and celebrated various festivals, especially for women. The gathering at the trust premises used to be very large and brought unity among different people, with due credit to the cooperation extended by the Maharashtra Samaj and the Maharashtra Mandal. The cooperation extended by stalwarts like Sri Purushottam Joshi, Sri Indirabai Khadilkar, Sri Dandekar, and many others recorded in the books of the trust. In the late 60s, the Maharashtrians living within the city limits started migrating to the suburbs and the attendance started dwindling. Many of the office bearers were getting aged and the younger generation did not show much interest in continuing such activities. The television distracted the people and the programs of the Maharashtra Association drew lesser attendance. In the early 80s, the group which took charge chalked out some plans like the publication of Maharashtra Panchanga, providing financial assistance towards eye operation for the poor, and the crowd puller much acclaimed program Bhakta Bhajan Sammelan as part of Sri Samartha Ramdas Swami celebrations. This Sammelan has grown to be an annual cultural festival where traditional Maharashtrian cultural programs like Gondal, Bharud, Kirtan, etc. are held. The Maharashtra Association conducted its 20th annual cultural festival in February 2009 with pomp and gaiety like in the previous years, thanks to the patronage of one and all, especially the business houses which are giving their assistance and sponsorships. The traditional programs are held in connection with Sri Ramanavami, Ganesh Chaturthi and Gudi Padava or New Year in cooperation with our sister organization, the Maratha Education Fund, Alwarpet, Chennai. The Maharashtra Association feels proud in having published two books, Bhajanamala and Manache Sloka, both in the bilingual form, Marathi and Tamil, to help the local Maharashtrian and non-Maharashtrian populations. In this context, we are proud that we have made one more achievement in publishing a book entitled Stories of Maharashtrian Pujas and Festivals 3 years ago, a long desire of the Maharashtrians and was a pet project of the association. This project would not have been possible without the help of Sri Bhavani Shankar Rao, who toiled for 2 years to author this book. Sri Bhavani Shankar Rao, in spite of his aging and other handicaps, burnt the midnight oil and gave us another masterpiece, Marriage Customs of South Indian Maharashtrians, a book which detailed the forgotten and neglected customs of conventional marriages. Incidentally, this elderly gentleman also holds the unwritten record of attending all our functions, traveling a large distance, and he is even here today with us. That is the 1st of May every year for uniformity and other conveniences. We have conducted various programs like oratorical, essay and painting contests for children, seminars, kirtans, harikatha, kalakshepams, bhajans, all in connection with Chhatrapati's life, so that his ideals and character are popularized. Considering the age of the young hero, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, it was decided to encourage young artists in the field of music and dance, and some of them who participated in the previous years have become very popular today, like Sri Sudarshan Sripad Mednikar, a sitarist, and Sri Swarnaretas, a young Carnatic vocalist of Chennai. Achievements are generally limited to a few. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was a great achiever, and in that connection, the Maharashtra Association decided to recognize people who have come up the ladder of their lives with distinction with an award called the Great Maratha Award for lifetime achievement and contributions to the society. The Maharashtra Association has so far recognized the works and achievements of Sri G.V. Rao, great entrepreneur of Chennai, Sri T.B. Nagarajan, former Deputy Comptroller and Auditor General of India, Sri C.B. Jagannath Rao, silk expert of United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Sri N. Vittal, former Central Vigilant Commissioner of India, Sri P. Bhavani Shankar Rao, professor and writer, Sri K. N. Bhujanga Rao, former Executive Director, Karur Vysya Bank, and Sri G. Dattatri, former Chief Urban Planner of Chennai, with this award. Today we are going to witness the award ceremony of yet another great, Sri C.R. Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib. The organization is extremely happy for its association with the greats like Sri Maulankar, Sri Chintaman Deshmukh, Sri C.P. Ramaswamy Iyer, Dr. Srimati Rajini Rai, former Lieutenant Governor of Pondicherry, and honorable judges Sri V.S. Sirpurkar, Sri S. Mohan, architect and president of Brihan Maharashtra Mandal, Sri Arun Badekar, industrialists like Sri R.S. Sawant, Sri Ashok Joshi, and great bankers like Sri A.G. Joshi, Sri Prakash Joshi, Sri Ashok Dugade, to name a few. To add to this list of dignitaries, we have Dr. P.C. Alexander, former Governor of Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, and Sri G.V. Ramakrishna, former Chairman of SEBI, decorating our function today. Thank you.
We have now come to the cream of this function, the award conferring ceremony. I request Sri Avinash to read the biography of Sri Rao Sahib.
Biography of Sri Kolattur Ramakrishnaswamy Rao Sahib. Sri C.R. Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib was born on 2nd February 1927 to Srimati Padmavati Bai and Sri C.S. Rama Rao Sahib in a middle-class family at Chennai. He is one of the 3 children and has 2 sisters. His grandfather was Sri R. Ramachandra Rao, a mathematician and an associate of the Indian mathematical genius Srinivasa Ramanujam. He was a strict Gandhian and even hosted the Mahatma in his house when he was a collector. His elder sister, late Dr. Saraswati Rao, a doctorate from London School of Economics, was the principal of Janki Devi and Maitrey Colleges, New Delhi. His other sister, Dr. Thunga Satyapal, also a doctorate from Madras University, Indian Institute of Mathematical Sciences, was a physics lecturer at New York. He was an above-average student from St. Thomas Convent, Santhom, and PS High School, Mylapore, Chennai, and did his graduation in physics honors from Presidency College, Madras. He was the recipient of Lord Elphinstone Scholarship for standing first in the intermediate examinations. After graduation, he appeared for the All India Services Competitive Examination and was selected to the Indian Administrative Service in 1949 and was allotted to the then composite Madras State. He joined the service in January 1950 at the IAS Training School in Delhi. The first position he held was that of an assistant collector for district training in the South Orcha district of Madras State. In 1951, he became the sub-collector of Kumbakonam division, the time when the first general elections of the country was held, where he was actively involved. Soon after, he was posted at Narasapur, a very disturbed area, demanding a separate Andhra state, which he managed very well. In 1953, he became the Undersecretary in the Revenue Department and had the privilege of serving under Sri C. Rajgopalachari, the Chief Minister. When Andhra was created, Sri Rao Sahib was transferred to that state to serve in the new Secretariat at Kurnool and then Hyderabad. In 1959, he went on deputation to the Government of India as the Joint Chief Controller of Imports and Exports. The new Spices Export Promotion Council was started under his chairmanship. In January 1965, the new Food Corporation of India was established, where he was posted as its first secretary, under whose leadership the organization grew manifold. In 1968, he returned to Andhra Pradesh as the Revenue Secretary, which he served for 5 years and took part in many developments like land reforms, tribal development, and food and drought reliefs. He became the secretary to the Chief Minister Sri Vengal Rao, and during this period of about 4 years, the state showed enormous developments and upsurge of growth. In 1977, he went again to Delhi to take over as Secretary Personnel and Administrative Reforms, and then moved to become the Commerce Secretary, during which time he conducted trade negotiations with India's neighbors, led delegations to European countries, and handled Indian participation in the UNCTAD conference. In 1979, he became the secretary to the Prime Minister Sri Charan Singh and was retained in the same position by the next Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi. He was elevated to the post of Cabinet Secretary to the Government of India in 1981. He held this position for 4 years and retired from service in the year 1985. The last 4 years of his service as Cabinet Secretary witnessed many significant events, such as the successful undertaking of the Indian expedition to Antarctica in record time and the subsequent setting up of permanent Indian station on the continent, creation of a Department of Ocean Development, establishment of administrative tribunals to facilitate the handling of service grievances. During the same time, the security was given more attention. He was also personally involved and executed the job of handling the anti-Sikh riots following the tragic assassination of Srimati Indira Gandhi. After serving the country for 35 years, holding various responsible positions, he was nominated and elected to the office of the Executive Director on the board of the World Bank in Washington, which he held for 4 years. Even here, he made his presence felt and restored India's shareholding in the bank, which had suffered a decline. In 1989, he bid adieu to his strenuous life and wanted to stay retired but not tired. This great gentleman went up the ladder step by step in his career, but the government of India decided to handpick this great gentleman to put him on top without going through the contemporary steps and awarded the third level Padma Award, Padma Vibhushan, directly in the year 2006. It is always said every successful man has a woman behind him, and this credit goes to his beloved wife Srimati Lalita, to whom Sri Rao Sahib himself gives all the credit and has great appreciation for her extreme tolerance during his official commitments. Not that he has been receiving all the goods in life, he is also a good philanthropist. He is also associated with Sri Purushottam Rao Charitable Trust, the Marathi School and Maharashtra Association Building Trust, Chennai, on behalf of the Maharashtrian community, deems it fit to honor this great multifaceted son of the soil, Sri Kolathur Ramakrishna Swami Rao Sahib, with the Great Maratha Award for his contributions to the society on this day, the 1st May 2009 at Chennai. With God's blessings showered on him, we pray to Lord Panduranga and Goddess Thulaja Bhavani to give him the necessary strength to carry on with all his activities dear to his heart for many more healthy and prosperous years to come and benefit the community and nation at large.
I request our chief guest, Dr. P.C. Alexander, to present the award to Sri Rao Sahib.
President of the Association, Sri Chandrasekhar, my esteemed friends, Rao Sahib Krishna Swami, my esteemed friend and today's speaker, G.V. Ramakrishna, distinguished guests present on this occasion. I should say I feel extraordinarily fortunate to have this opportunity of not merely participating in the celebration of Shivaji Jayanti, but equally important of participating in the ceremony for honoring so distinguished a product of Maharashtra culture on this occasion of Shivaji Jayanti. Having been a governor in Maharashtra for 9 years and 9 months, I must have participated in several dozens, without exaggeration, of functions to celebrate Shivaji Jayanti. I don't think there is any hero in India so much honored, respected, adored and worshipped by the people as Shivaji has been all these years. He is not just a hero of Maharashtra, he is a hero of the whole country. I am very happy that the Maharashtra Association of Chennai has kept the tradition of honoring Shivaji's memory, and also I am particularly happy that a prize or an award had been instituted which would be presented on this auspicious day to a distinguished Maharashtrian. On behalf of you all present here and on my behalf, I convey to Rao Sahib our heartiest congratulations and good wishes. Perhaps many of you may not know that the time that was allotted for me to speak on this occasion, though I am called the chief guest, was only 5 minutes. I called up the gentleman who had sent me the invitation and asked whether a mistake has been committed in the invitation or whether really I am expected to speak only for 5 minutes. I said, even to mention the name of Krishnaswamy, Padma Vibhushan and C.R. Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib, I will take half a minute. And to mention the name of Chhatrapati Maharaj Shivaji, I will take another half a minute. And then you should really allow me to exceed the time limit you have prescribed for me. He said it was a mistake. You speak for any length of time. I warn you, I am not going to carry out his instructions. I will exceed 5 minutes. I have already used 2 minutes out of the 5 for this introduction. I will just mention 3 or 4 basic features of Shivaji's greatness, which really makes him one of the heroes of our country, irrespective of the generation to which he belonged. There are 4 important features of his career which should be remembered by a grateful nation, Indians, wherever they are, whatever they may be doing, but if they are celebrating Shivaji Jayanti. These 4 features of greatness in this great hero were: 1, he came into a position of a leader at a time the Maharashtrian community in Maharashtra was in real danger of even extinction. There was no leadership in the community. There were subdivisions within the community. There were subcastes and sub-subcastes and rivalries of an acute nature, each one trying to pull the other down. At no time in the history of Maharashtra has the Maharashtrian community been so down and so depressed as when Shivaji was born. The second is, he was challenging the mightiest power India had seen till now, that is the Mughal Emperor, Aurangzeb, whose empire extended at that time from Kabul to Andhra Pradesh. No mean task for anybody. Only a very courageous person who had confidence in himself would venture to do that. The third is that he was challenging the might of the Sultan of Bijapur, who was not a distinct personality like Aurangzeb, but who was powerful where Shivaji himself was trying to establish his power. The Sultan of Bijapur was the de facto ruler of all the places where Shivaji himself was trying to establish his power. And the fourth was, in addition to all these handicaps, he was being harassed because he had a small fleet of boats by the Portuguese who were trying to establish a foothold in Maharashtra. These were the 4 major achievements of Shivaji Maharaj and his major contributions to the history of the Maharashtrians. I will also add to this that, like the great fighters, conquerors and founders of empires, His success lay in his capacity to adopt the tactics and the methods of warfare suitable to the terrain of Maharashtra. There have been great warriors like Shivaji in history, Hannibal, Alexander the Great, all of them, Napoleon, all of them succeeded because where they had to take on the enemy, they would just leave the enemy to himself. But where they were sure of mastery over the terrain and the tactics that he used to follow, they will challenge the superior. And that is why Shivaji was able to first score victory over the Sultan of Bijapur and then over the great Mughal emperor himself. Above all, my last point on Shivaji Maharaj, he is one who really cared for what we today call Maharashtra Dharma. Ravidas, the great guru, wrote to Shivaji's son when he assumed power as his successor, you do only two things for success. Follow your father's example and uphold the Dharma of the Maharashtrians. I have no time to explain to you what is meant by Maharashtra Dharma. I am sure as Maharashtrians, wherever you may live, are conscious of the heritage of Maharashtrians, and that is what is called by this great name, Maharashtra Dharma. Maharaj Shivaji was the founder of the tradition of Maharashtra Dharma. Now I come to my friend Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib. What can I say about a person whom I have known for 60 years? We were together after recruitment to the IAS. He was a year junior to me. We were together in the Madras presidency cadre of the service. I started my training in Tirunelveli district. I started my first subdivision in Tuticorin. For 3.5 years, I stayed in this great city and in this great state of Tamil Nadu now. Made so many friends in the service and outside the service, but I can claim I have one friend whom I made in the early age of my late 20s and his middle 20s, and has maintained the same type of friendliness and mutual trust all these years. Fate has blessed people who joined the service immediately after independence because it has given us the opportunity to contribute something original on our own efforts. The younger generation which has come into the IAS in later years did not have that opportunity. But some of us who joined in the very first year or a year later after independence had this unique opportunity of contributing something to the basic policies which have proved to be successful in India. Maharaj Rao Sahib's greatest success was his close association with the formulation of revenue reforms in Andhra Pradesh. As secretary in the revenue department, he worked under P.V. Narasimha Rao, a person whom both he and I respect immensely in spite of what critics may say about him. Or we honor him in our memory very passionately because we know the worth of his contribution in many fields. One of his greatest contributions was revenue reforms in Andhra Pradesh. And P.V. Narasimha Rao, with whom I was very close, has told me at least on a dozen occasions that he was able to do the reforms in Andhra Pradesh in the very complicated area of revenue reforms because of the very able help he received from a young officer, Rao Sahib Krishnaswamy. In my own humble and limited way, I happen to be looking after the policies and programs for small industries and industrial estates as a young deputy secretary and later as a development commissioner. So I could also get the opportunity of producing something to the development projects in this country. But there are two areas in the career of Rao Sahib which I can never forget and which I would like to share with you on this occasion. One is his brilliant contribution to solving the conundrum in Punjab created by the Akali agitation. Exactly at that time, I had joined the Prime Minister's Secretariat as her Principal Secretary. And the same day or the day earlier, Rao Sahib has joined as Cabinet Secretary. We worked as a team so closely and with so much trust in each other that if I narrate some of the instances, you will not even believe them to be true. There were many cases where we have agreed before we decided to meet the Prime Minister and present to her our views. But there have been a few cases where in our mutual discussion we have disagreed, and Rao Sahib had his own view, I had my own view. But I always remember, every time such an occasion came, he would say, "You go and explain everything to her. I'm not going to come with you. You tell her why I differ from your views and let her decide." No other civil servant will do it. I can say that from my experience of over 40, 50 years in this service. Unless there is implicit faith and trust in your colleague's integrity. He treated me as a man of unchallengeable integrity as he himself was. And I respected him for his impeccable, unimpeachable integrity under all circumstances. I would never let him down in presenting to the Prime Minister what he had said differing from my views. I would say everything he would have told me, but I would always maintain my views also, and the decision was always left to her. This trust which he had with me, on me, and the trust I had in him, I would claim with pardonable pride, contributed a good deal to the so-called efficiency of administration during the period he was Cabinet Secretary and I was Principal Secretary, 3.5 years from May 1981. We have been together through thick and thin. We have faced dangers in life even together. We have travelled out of Delhi without informing even our wives because our mission was so secret. I remember we were travelling from Delhi to a place very near Chandigarh by a special plane. At dead of night, about 12 o'clock, we left Delhi. And within 20 minutes, we were caught up in a sandstorm so severe that both he and I thought that we will not reach the destination. And then Rao Sahib asked me, "Alex, have you informed your wife?" I said, "No." As usual, I told her I have been called for a meeting in the PM's office. Then he said, "I have also told my wife that I am going to the PM office." We never informed our wives where we were going. We never bothered about what others may say about us, so long as we trusted each other and maintained the strictest impartiality in our judgment and in our loyalty to the cause that was entrusted to us, we were happy. I do not know whether there are any young IAS officers present here today. I wish there were a few. I would say that if I am asked to point out one role model in the long history of IAS that I have familiar with, without any hesitation, without an iota of doubt, I will mention the name of Padma Bhushan C.R. Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib. And may God give him long life, health and happiness to remain at this pinnacle of glory he has achieved for himself and his service, so that that role model role will never disappear from the Rao Sahib's family. Thank you very much.
Chief guest, Dr. Alexander. During any award ceremony, it is customary to felicitate the awardee. We have two persons who have been closely associated with Sri Rao Sahib and have obliged to come here to say a few words about their association with him. I request Sri G.V. Ramakrishna, Sri Rao Sahib's professional colleague, to say a few words about him and his association with him.
I would like to felicitate the association, Maharashtra Association, for celebrating the Shivaji Jayanti Day today, and in particular for inviting Dr. Alexander to come and speak on the occasion to honor Mr. Rao Sahib. They are two of our senior members of our octogenarian club, and I am also a junior member of the octogenarian club. It is difficult to see how two civil servants held the fort at Delhi, not the Red Fort, but the real fort of government at Delhi, during a very trying period in 1984. And it will be before that, 81, 83, 84. We were in Delhi at that time in different positions, but everybody knew the two most powerful civil servants in the government at that time were Dr. Alexander and Mr. Rao Sahib. The way they functioned in tandem for the common good, upholding the highest principles of the civil service and upholding the principles of integrity, was a lesson for every one of us to follow. I had the privilege of working with Dr. Rao Sahib on a few occasions, and on every occasion I found him to be of great support to his juniors in whatever legitimate interests they had and grievances they had. We were together also for some time during the regime of Dr. Vengal Rao as Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, when I was Secretary Municipal Administration and Mr. Rao Sahib was Secretary to the CM. Mr. Rao Sahib has one characteristic which I think he passed down to Vengal Rao, or Vengal Rao already had it, but there are two peas on the same pod in two or three respects. One is speed of disposal. Any paper that went to the table of Rao Sahib did not stay for more than 15 minutes. It may wait in the queue for 5 or 10 minutes, but the disposal was only in 5 minutes. Somehow this practice he conveyed and indoctrinated in Mr. Vengal Rao also. Vengal Rao also was in great hurry, and he would listen to somebody, and Mr. Vengal Rao and Mr. Rao Sahib had what is called a 5-minute rule. 5-minute rule was 2 minutes they explain the issues and the problems, 2 minutes for answering questions from the Chief Minister, and 1 minute for the decision. At the end of 5 minutes, you are out of the room with the decision in your hand. That is the kind of approach we had to dealing with issues and problems. On so many occasions I used to wait to see Mr. Vengal Rao, and he had a habit of allowing secretaries to see him even ahead of 50 representations and petitioners from the rural areas. Because he said, secretaries' time is precious, they should not waste their time waiting in the ante room to see the Chief Minister. But when I went in, he would say, what's the problem? And I would say it in 2 minutes. He would say, what are the pros and cons of the problem? And what do you recommend? At the end of it, he would say, give me the file. He would write something, sign, and hand it back to me and say, next secretary. That is how things went, and largely because of the example of Mr. Rao Sahib in dealing with matters with great clarity, great intelligence, and great perception, and encouraging people to speak their mind, but speak them honestly. So it's a great privilege for me to be here today, to be present on the occasion of the felicitation and the award of a great Maratha to Mr. Rao Sahib. He has already been acclaimed as a great Indian. Now he is acclaimed as a great Maratha, as a great Indian. So we wish him and Mrs. Rao Sahib, who have been good friends of our family for a long time, many more years of happiness and good health and friendship with all their friends and relations. Thank you very much.
I request Srimati Sudha Vyas, a relative of Sri Rao Sahib, to say a few words about her long association with him.
Sahib, Mr. G.V. Ramakrishna, Mr. Chandrasekharan, Dr. Devaji Rao, and members of the Maharashtra Association, invitees and friends, a very good morning to all of you. In an age and time when even the smallest achievement is enough for huge publicity, here is someone who has never talked of his huge list of achievements, always keeping a low profile, letting his actions speak. I am talking of none other than Padma Vibhushan Sri C.R. Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib, who is popularly known as Sri Rao Sahib and affectionately known in the family circles as Babu Uncle. Hailing from an illustrious family, it is no surprise that exemplary qualities are in his very genes. On the paternal side, his father and his forefathers were advocates who enjoyed great name and fame in Madras. Sri Rao Sahib's maternal grandfather, Sri Ramchandra Rao, was a reputed civil servant who was known as the Nellore Collector. Sri Rao Sahib recalls his maternal grandfather with great respect and affection, saying that he was a great mathematician, a courageous nationalist, and a highly principled person. His grandfather, Sri Ramachandra Rao, knew the genius Sri Ramanujam personally and supported him with his personal funds. He was also in touch with Gandhiji. When he was a collector, he gave his house for Gandhiji to stay during his visit. The ladies of the family were a great source of support. Coming from such an illustrious background, I am sure the seeds of greatness were sown in Sri Rao Sahib right from childhood. It is said that achievers walk that extra mile, make that extra effort. We have seen this in our Babu Uncle. Whatever he takes up, he will do it thoroughly with a great sense of depth and sincerity. Today we have the hallmark symbol for the purity of gold. The hallmarks of Sri Rao Sahib are his honesty, simplicity, and humility. My teacher used to say, while telling us to be simple and straightforward, that simplicity is the mark of intelligence. I think this signifies the essence of Sri Rao Sahib's nature. He is unassuming, genuine, and an encyclopedia of knowledge. Talking to him is an education in itself. Name any topic, he can talk with ease, making listening to him an enjoyable experience. An oft-quoted saying is that a tree laden with fruit is close to the ground. This is considered a symbol of humility. I think of this saying whenever I think of Babu Uncle. He is a down-to-earth person with his feet firmly planted on the ground but full of sterling qualities. Sri Rao Sahib is synonymous with honesty and uprightness. He is, I feel, a supreme example of the kind of bureaucrat that India needs. Well-read, straightforward, and dignified. His honesty is what has placed him on a special level. He has proved the proverb, honesty is the best policy. He has earned the respect and admiration of all young and old alike. On a very personal level, I have seen how concerned he is about people. He is a loving husband, a caring and affectionate father, and a friend to all. Recently at his grandson's wedding, we saw with what meticulousness he had remembered to invite people associated with the family, be it relatives, friends, or even those who had served his family for years. He has a great sense of family, very hospitable, warm, and thoughtful. Our dear Rao Sahib is truly a person to admire and emulate. I feel privileged to have been given an opportunity to share my thoughts with you all, and I thank the Maharashtra Association and Dr. Devaji Rao for this. All I have said is no exaggeration. I speak the truth and nothing but the truth. Thank you, Sri Rao Sahib, for being what you are. You have made the Marathi community proud. Congratulations. I wish you and your family wonderful years ahead. Thank you, Dr. Devaji Rao and the Maharashtra Association for honoring Sri Rao Sahib with the Great Maratha Award on this auspicious occasion of Chhatrapati Shivaji Jayanti celebrations. We feel proud as a family too. Thank you.
I request Sri P.C. Alexander to present the mementos to Sri G.V. Ramakrishna and Srimati Sudha Vyas. I request Sri C.R. Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib to say a few words on receiving this award.
I assure you it will only be a few words. Dr. Alexander, Mr. Chandrasekhar, Dr. Devaji Rao, G.V. Ramakrishna, Sudha Vyas, distinguished guests, office bearers of the Maharashtra Association, ladies and gentlemen. Frankly, I must confess to being not only moved but quite overwhelmed. First, by the great award that was being presented to me today by this association, but also by the lavish words of praise that Dr. Alexander, G.V. Ramakrishna and Sudha have praised me with. They have showered me with these words of praise, but I think one should take care to see that we don't allow them to completely color our judgment, because these words are less proof of my worth than of the kindness of their hearts. And that brings me on to one point which I thought I would share with you today, and that relates to the great dependence that all of we share with the world around us. In our childhood, we are dependent on our parents, later on with our siblings, our friends, our colleagues, schoolmates, college mates, later on service colleagues, and later on our own children. So there is a web of dependence that all of us share. This, in fact, in a way, reflects a deeper reality. You must have seen that in the papers now, people speak all the time of connectivity. Biologists speak of the interdependence of life. Even physicists speak of entanglement of different particles separated by millions of light years. And of course, our ancient sages spoke of all existence being grounded in a single reality. In official service, this dependence, or interdependence if you like, was brought home to us at every turn. In fact, all significant achievements, I found, was the outcome of a collective effort. And success results where there is teamwork and cooperation. It was my privilege throughout my service, to have received the unstinted cooperation of my colleagues, my subordinates, my superiors. Maybe I was particularly lucky. But in effect, it is this kind of cooperation and participation and support that results in good success in whatever we attempt. If therefore Dr. Alexander has mentioned various things, and Mr. G.V. Ramakrishna has mentioned other things, and Sudha has said something else, you must attribute a great deal of all that happened, not only to me,
to all those who supported me in whatever I did. The only other point I wanted to touch on relates to the Marathi-speaking community in the south. Its origin is traced to the migrations that took place 400 years ago during the time of Shivaji's father. In the centuries that have elapsed since then, the community has been able to preserve its language, its cultural mores, and its religious practices. I once met a high dignitary in Delhi. He was originally of Maharashtrian origin, but their family had settled in Uttar Pradesh for many centuries. He happened to have the same surname as my own, the surname which we had before we adopted the family title of Rao Sahib. So, and I asked him whether anybody in his family knew Marathi. He told me that the last person who could speak Marathi in his house was his grandmother, and said that we in the south had done better than that. So this is equal. So we have been, in fact, this community in fact has been able to preserve its identity through this long period, which is quite a remarkable achievement. And what is equally remarkable is that this phenomenon has been achieved without the slightest conflict with the different linguistic groups amongst whom we all live here. There is no tension with the Tamil speaking people or the Telugu speaking people or the Kannada speaking people or even the Malayalam speaking people here. There is complete amity and harmony. And it's not merely a case of peaceful coexistence, it's a case of constructive cooperation. We participate in their functions, we celebrate their festivals, and we make a contribution to society as a whole. There have been distinguished Maharashtrians in the past who have achieved fame as distinguished civil servants, as Diwans of states, and so on. And they have done all this and without any feeling of being different from the people around them. And so, this is a useful lesson to learn and to remember at a time when you are surrounded by the din of voices seeking divisive solutions to every perceived difference, whether it's real or imagined. It's quite a lesson in the sociology I think we need to bear in mind. I would, in this context, before I conclude, the Maharashtra Association deserves the highest commendation. They have really consciously made efforts to ensure a continuity in our tradition, to ensure that we do not forget our roots, and that we keep this memory fresh in us by having these annual functions, apart from other activities which they have, where we have an opportunity to meet with one another and renew our identity. And the practice of celebrating Shivaji's birthday, as Dr. Alexander said, and the practice of getting a troupe from Maharashtra to perform a Marathi play or whatever, all this seeks to remind the youth of this country about their roots and about their traditions and their heritage. This is a great achievement you have succeeded in ensuring, and I hope that this association will continue this task in the years to come. Now, we have, I must close now, and before I do that, we have recently celebrated our new year, the Gudi Padwa. This year has a somewhat alarming name of Virodhi. But I am assured that the Panchangam of the year makes it clear that it will be a good year. There will be plenty of rain. The monsoon will be good, which is very important for this country. So let me close first by once more thanking Dr. Alexander, Ramakrishna, Sudha and all the rest of them
for the very, very kind words they have spoken about me. I am greatly moved by what they have said. I remember all my associations with these people in different ways, how much I owe them, let alone what they have said today, how much I owe them. Dr. Alexander has been my mentor in many ways. G.V. Ramakrishna has been a valued colleague, and Sudha has been a very close family friend. So I owe them a great deal, much more in fact than they owe me. But anyway, so this is what I want to thank them first. And then I want to wish all of you a very, very happy New Year. Thank you.
The Raghavendra Mutt Triplicane has sent a prasad blessing this occasion. We humbly request our chief guest, Dr. P.C. Alexander, to present a shawl and a bouquet and bless Srimati Jayashree Rajagopalan, today's artist under whose guidance this cultural program is choreographed and to be played in a few moments from now. For a group photograph with the dignitaries. These days, to conduct a function of this magnitude, we need financial strength. Our financial strength was ably supported by some philanthropists, our own members, and Bank of Maharashtra and Indian Overseas Bank, who have come forward to sponsor the event. We take this opportunity to thank everyone who has helped us in making this function a grand success. Our very special thanks goes to Sri Rajiv Lokre of Meta Prints for donating the plaque. I request our Honorary Treasurer, Sri K.S. Madhukar, to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning to all of you. It is my proud privilege to propose a vote of thanks for this momentous occasion on behalf of the Maharashtra Association on my own behalf. This being the 75th year of the Maharashtra Association, this function is of added significance. I am indeed thankful to Sri C.R. Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib, former Cabinet Secretary, Government of India, for accepting our offer of accepting the award. Thank you, sir. As a matter of fact, we have been trying to get him for presenting the Great Mada Award for a couple of years now. But of course, it's a pure coincidence that such a towering personality has been honored in the 75th year of the association with the Great Maratha Award. Thank you, sir. Sir, I am also thankful. I take this opportunity to thank the chief guest of this function, Dr. P.C. Alexander, former governor of Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, who had readily agreed to be with us this morning, and felicitate his good friend and colleague with the Great Maratha Award, Sri Krishnaswamy Rao Sahib. Thank you, sir. I would like to mention here that the very mention of the word Rao Sahib made him agree spontaneously to attend this function. We are also thankful to Sri G.V. Ramakrishna, former chairman SEBI, for sparing his valuable time and sharing his experiences on association with Sri Rao Sahib. Thank you, sir. I also thank Srimati Sudha Vyas, who was very pleased to participate and felicitate this great Maratha, Sri C.R. Krishna Swami Rao Sahib. Thank you, madam. I will be failing in my duty if I do not thank all our members who have been supporting us in all our endeavors from time to time. I also thank the management of MCTM Chidambaram Chettiar Matriculation Higher Secondary School for giving this hall for conducting this glittering function. I also thank all the donors for supporting us from time to time. I take this opportunity to thank the press and the electronic media for covering this event. I also thank all of you once again. Thank you very much.